the Giannis stuff though with the Knicks yesterday. So we recorded yesterday, and then that news came out from Shams, ESPN, saying that it is likely that Giannis is in fact going to be moved at some point. The future with the Bucks is it's basically not existent for Giannis, whether it's going to be traded this year or traded at the in the offseason. So this is nothing new. We talked about this, as a matter of fact. I mean, this is only episode 10. One of the episodes, I forget which one, we were talking about the Knicks and Giannis and how I felt that this is likely going to happen. So now there are different layers to it. And the main one would be that if he is to be moved now, like maybe the Knicks would have been better off if Giannis and the Bucks got through the season and then at the end of the season said, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore, trade me. And then the Knicks would be in a better spot with the picks that they would have available to be able to trade then. So that's number one. Whereas you have teams like Miami, and it's always freaking Miami, isn't it? Pat Riley and the Knicks still battling all these years later. And that's the one team that would concern me a little bit from a Knicks perspective in trying to go after Giannis. A, because of Pat Riley. B, because it's Miami and a tremendous location. C, because they're going to have a chance to build a winner. I mean, they've done it before. So I would think that that would be an appealing destination for Giannis. So I would be, from a Knicks perspective, even though I still think Giannis prefers the Knicks, and I in my gut, I still feel like the Knicks are going to find a way to make that happen. I would be and am legitimately concerned about the chances of the Heat getting him. I know there's going to be other teams involved as well. I don't know how this is going to look. Like we've seen the reports and rumors about all these different players going this way, that way, 3-team trades, and Drew Holiday being involved. Okay, so there's a lot to that I'll be honest with you, I have no clue about. But from a Knicks perspective, there are a couple of thoughts. A, should they make this move to go all in and try to get Giannis? And then B, well, what would you give up to get him? So as far as A goes, the way that I would answer this is, do you think if you watch this Knicks team, and for me, it goes back to last year. I made my definitive decision a year ago. I wasn't sure if I wanted to break up Randall, dating back a couple years now. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, before last season, wasn't sure if I wanted to break up the Randall, Brunson, OG, that iteration of this team before seeing it fully play out with a healthy roster. Because when Anunoby first got traded for, they traded RJ Barrett quickly, they bring in OG Anunoby, and Randall was healthy. The Knicks were playing like the best team in the NBA. Then Randall gets hurt, and obviously we know what happens. They get hurt, they fall short against the Pacers, game 7. Okay, fine. So then going into the offseason or during that offseason, there are two thought processes. One, run it back with Randall and company and see how far you can go before breaking it up and making the decision. Or B, saying, you know what, we've determined that no matter what, this group just isn't it, and we need to get a star that could take us to another level. And they went with option B. I'm going with option B. And they chose to trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. And as soon as that came out, I loved it. I remember doing an instant reaction and all about it right away. This is the right move. They needed to get a superstar. Even though I love the Randall version, they got the superstar, the right one, I thought at the time, in Karl-Anthony Towns. He was available, a big who can shoot, something that the Knicks needed, even if it meant Devo going the other way. Randall, obviously, you got to trade something to get something, whatever. I was good with it. So then we watched it play out last year. And I knew, at least I felt, and I still believe I know, but whatever, we'll see what happens here. I knew that it was not going to be good enough after watching last year's postseason with Towns and Brunson being the two top dogs on this team, the two stars. It just wasn't working. Regular season was good. Postseason, less than that. Towns just does things that drives me nuts. The out-of-control offensive fouls, the inconsistency, the makeup, the attitude at times. And it's sad for me to say that because I loved the trade at first, and there were a lot of things that I liked about Karl-Anthony Towns when he first got here. But I just don't believe that they will ever win a championship with the roster as currently constructed. And I never thought that Tibbs was the problem. I thought that it was the stars, or Towns in this particular case specifically, because Brunson's not going anywhere, and nor do I want him to go anywhere. But he's also not a perfect superstar that can help you overcome some deficiencies of other star players on your team. And the two of them combined are horrific defensively. So the Knicks, last offseason going into the year, instead of saying Towns ain't it, they decided to run it back with Towns, bring in a better bench, which in theory should help the Knicks be better this year. Better bench, bring back Towns, so keep it intact for another year. But they make the determination that, much like they felt the year before, that Randall wasn't good enough. Now, Tibbs is not the right guy to get them over the hump. So Randall and Tibbs, the two guys who brought the Knicks back to relevancy, stability, sustained success, Tibbs, Randall. Now both of them are gone. Randall, the first one, nah, he's not it. Then it was Tibbs last offseason. Nah, he's not it. We got to get better than that. And now, almost midway through the season, wherever we're at here, early, the season with the Knicks, some great, some god awful. Record's still fine as far as being one of the top teams in the East, but they're right there with 5 or 6 people. They've been playing better the last few games. Okay, great. But when you watch this team, do you really think that it's worth giving this team a go, keeping it intact for the remainder of the season, taking a run of the championship? I don't. I don't think Mike Brown, I'll be respectful there. I don't think Mike Brown, although I want to say like it's coming out, I can't help it. Mike Clown, I don't think Mike Clown is the right head coach. That's obvious. I've been on record saying that many different times. And I don't think that these are the right players to win a championship. Therefore, why waste time? What? Just do it now. Now, even if you want to keep Mike Clown, you don't want to fire him in season, which I would probably do. Now you got to come up with an alternative. What are they going to do? That's why I just hated the hire to begin with. But forget the coach for a second, because the bigger issues, and now everybody's focused on that, like ignoring Mike Brown and his issues, and focus on the bigger issues, which is what they should have done after last season, Karl-Anthony Towns. The other aspect of this, and I said this, I alluded to this, I heard from multiple sources. I said this, I think, a while back on one of the podcasts, that Rick Brunson, I never named him before, but I'll name him, I don't care. Rick Brunson is not the biggest fan of both Towns and Mikal Bridges. Now, does that mean that they're going to get traded? I have no idea. But using that information that I heard, combining it with the fact that we all see that this iteration of the Knicks is not good enough to win a championship, whether you want to believe it or not, it's not. And then the fact that Giannis is going to be available, it led me to think that this was going to happen, a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was that we recorded that podcast and talked about it. So now we're here. And I don't see the hesitation. I don't care if it's Kolek, Deuce, Picks. Outside of Brunson and Hart, I'm assuming, and it's not because Hart should be untouchable, because he's an integral part of what the Knicks are trying to do. So the idea is you want to replace the star pieces that aren't working with a star piece you believe can fit in without completely destroying the rest of your team. So if it means trading Deuce McBride, who I like, but still, Kolek, whatever, like you move on from those guys. That's it. No questions asked. And obviously those are the ancillary pieces to what you would expect to be, at the minimum, Karl-Anthony Towns and possibly Mikal Bridges as well. And if it's not Bridges, then maybe the other piece would be Mitchell Robinson. And I'd rather trade Bridges than I would Mitchell Robinson. Somebody else I was talking to about the Knicks said that, I don't know if Jeff Van Gundy said this publicly or not, but that Jeff Van Gundy believes that the Knicks, it was after the Clippers were in town, Jeff Van Gundy believes that the Knicks have an outside shot to be a championship team because of Mitchell Robinson and the difference maker that he is on the boards. When you get a beast like that is an elite, high-level, skilled rebounder the way that he is, it's a game changer. So because of that, he can maybe take the Knicks to another level in the postseason. So I wouldn't be looking to give him up either. But, I mean, whichever way you slice it, this isn't working. And to me, the biggest culprits, and it was obvious a year ago, and I stand by it, even watching them again this year, even though Bridges has been better than he was a year ago. I know he was on fire against the Raptors last night as we record this early Thursday morning. Bridges and Towns. Specifically Towns, but if you got to move Bridges as well, and I would think that they'd have to get a player of Giannis' caliber, you got to do it. You can't lose out to the Heat. The Knicks are in their championship window right now. They took one big shot with Karl-Anthony Towns. It doesn't appear that that's going to work. You got to make a decision. You've got to make a decision. If Giannis is available, you go get him, and you see how that looks with Brunson. I don't care about the injuries. I don't care about the age. I think it's worth the risk breaking this up, because I don't believe this Knicks team, as is, will win a championship. Breaking it up and going to take a run at another superstar, a different superstar, a proven NBA champion type superstar in Giannis, and seeing what that would look like with Jalen Brunson.